this the top dog you're looking for? Hi. How you doing? That's not going to work. Hello! And welcome to another episode of GSV12, the safe place for paranormal evidence. Please, guys, if you could do the like, do the subscribe. I don't know why that means subscribe. Do the subscribe. Switch on that notification bell so you never miss an episode in the future and be part of the community. Yay. So here I am with a brand new G-Star Vault, and the idea was to move away a little bit from the UFO phenomenon and Bigfoot, and I was going to do an episode about an article that I'd seen which was kind of interesting. It's all about this incident that's happening a couple of weeks ago off the coast of Bournemouth, where so every year now for about the last 10 years, every summer, there's always stories in the papers and in the news here in the UK that there's great whites off the coast of, or in British waters. And it's been a running theme for the last 10 years that throughout the summer months, there's always some sort of story of some sort of sighting or something that's happened. And anyway, there was an incident recently that happened in Bournemouth that may or may not be a shark. However, what caught me on this article was about the fact that there was a lot of people who actually were involved in these incidents that didn't actually think it was a shark, and that actually they couldn't describe fully what it was that they saw, although it was very dark and black. So that's kind of led a bunch of people down a kind of sort of more of a cryptozoology and sort of sea monster kind of theme. And so yeah, it was kind of interesting article where this sort of twist was happening. The main guy was a guy in a kayak who got sort of turned over, and apparently he's been saying to papers that he doesn't think it was a shark, that it was something much bigger. Yeah, so I was going to do an episode about all of that, but however I'm not. I just thought I would tell you about that, and maybe a couple of episodes down the line I might go back to that if that's still, excuse the pun, swimming around. But today's episode has kind of come and smack me in the face, really. And so it's another G-Star Vault which is connected to the UFO phenomenon, but there's a very, very good reason. I was absolutely over the moon today and blow my mind, amazed, and if it wasn't for the fact that I'm so obsessed about keeping the studio tidy, I'd have party poppers and I'd be busting them open and I'd be whooping. And because somebody on our Monty Zone Facebook page today shared a piece of original footage in a post. And it's the first person. We've had a couple of people that have done posts on the page that aren't myself or Monty, and that's primarily Daniel Godwin, who's shared some stuff before, like links or things connected to episodes that we've talked about or G-Star Vaults. And, you know, I've been trying to ask everybody and all you guys to sort of do as much of this as possible. Follow us on the Monty Zone page on Facebook, and you know, kind of post away on there if there's something that you come across on social media or on the web that you just see or hear about that you think that's very strange, it's still unexplained. You know, please share it with us. Post it, a link, a copy of a video. Or if you've got something that you personally have experienced and that you've shot, or a story that you want to tell us, please put it on there, because you never know, we may feature that content in a G-Star Vault, or on the Monty Zone, and we will certainly mention you. And I will be mentioning this person that has shared this post on our page a lot in this episode, but it's not somebody that I know, so I just want to say a really big thank you for sharing this footage. I have contacted them to ask a few more questions and a few more details, but I have yet to get an answer. And I am doing this pretty hot off the press because I go away on holiday tomorrow, and then when I get back from holiday I'm away with work, so there won't be another G-Star Vaults for a couple of weeks now. So this is why I was sort of eager to get this out, because I'm so excited that somebody started sharing content on our Facebook page. So a big thank you to Danny Haralambora, and it's Danny with an I, so I'm thinking it may be a lady, but if it's not, that's cool also. Danny with an I, very masculine. Anyway, so Danny uploaded this piece of footage that all it came with was a comment saying filmed this in Warrington or caught this in Warrington. So I started having a look at the footage, and it's pretty darn interesting, and I want to play it to you. I'll play it in the exact original format that's been shared. It's about 2.5 minutes long. Then I've done some tinkering around. I've done a zoomed in version, which I'll play after the original version, and we'll come back and we will talk about our thoughts, or at least I will, and you guys can comment and let me know what you're thinking. Your analysis along with mine is always what it's all about, and this is why people doing posts on the Facebook page and sharing content, sharing stories is what it's all about and what we're all about, because we want to create a community around some of this more thought-provoking subjects and analyze them together. So you guys are a big part of this. So puff up those pillows, go and get a hot drink or something. As I said, the footage is about 2.5 minutes long, and then I will play a sort of tweaked version afterwards, and then we'll come back and talk about it. So see you in a moment, guys. just before I play the version that... Oh, welcome back, by the way. Before I play the version where I've kind of zoomed in, I've tweaked it, I've upped the contrast and I've upped the brightness, and I've honed in on the area where we're seeing all of the action. Towards the end of it, I zoom out. What I'm going to do is keep playing that whilst I talk you through my thoughts and analysis on this one thus far. Start with, once again, a big thank you to Danny Haralambora, who shared this footage on our Monty Zone Facebook page and uploaded it there. Danny, I believe, is from Warrington, or that's at least where the footage was taken. Warrington's in the UK. If I'm right, I think it's just near Cheshire, so it's in the south of England. I have asked Danny whether they would be willing to share the date and the time of this one, because I don't have that information. Obviously we can see it's at night time, but we don't know what day, and we don't know exactly what time. These are kind of important when we come to the analysis, and you'll see why later. I tweaked this footage that's playing right now, and I've trimmed it. It's sort of the last 30 seconds of the footage. I feel that that's where the most important stuff happens, and I played with the contrast, and I also played with the brightness, so hopefully that helps and makes the image a little bit more clear, or at least some of the stuff that I'm going to discuss. Kick off with the A from aerial phenomenon. Is this some sort of unidentified or misidentified aerial phenomenon? Well, it's certainly not a plane. Let's be honest about that. It could be helicopters behind the clouds, but I don't know helicopters that change colour in their lighting like that, like we're seeing in the footage. It's certainly not a bird. It's certainly not like a satellite or a drone or something like that. The aerial phenomenon, I think it's getting a pretty good tick. So, jumping away from ACARTs a minute, then what else could it be if it's not one of the normal criteria that fall under that aerial phenomenon? So, when I first watched the footage, I was thinking maybe, some sort of laser show, maybe a concert, a festival that's going on. But I was looking for the lasers or the lights from down below, which you would see as they're getting up into the cloud, and you can't see any of that. But lasers have come a long way recently, so you can't fully dismiss lasers, I don't believe. There is something within this footage that still makes me question that thought process that it's lasers, and that's towards that last 30 seconds. I hope you guys are seeing it as well. There's a part where you see a silhouette in the cloud, a shape, and again, I'm not an expert on where laser technology is right now in terms of these laser shows that they do for festivals or in theme parks, but can they create silhouettes in the air? I don't know. It would be worth looking into that, because I don't know if you guys see it as well, but I definitely see a silhouette in that center cloud towards the end of the footage. I know I'm rubber banding, but the other thing that I thought is that it could be a laser show that is kind of a bit far away. So we're looking at, so we've got Danny with the camera filming, and then what looks like about half a mile or a mile away, we've got a bank of clouds, and then maybe like another mile over the other side of those clouds is where those lasers are coming from. So those clouds are kind of a bit like a backdrop for that laser show. There's something really interesting towards the end of the footage, the way that the lights quickly go down and then disappear. You've probably seen that a few times. I'm playing the sort of trimmed down original footage now, because hopefully you can sort of see that a bit better. And then towards the very end part of the footage, it looks like the light is coming back again, but it's much further off in the distance and much lower as well. But again, this could all be the light show going down and it giving that effect, and us seeing the last of that light show in the distance. I don't know. This is a really tricky one. it's just very, very interesting to look at. So the next one is C for CGI, and again, we're talking about this footage, Danny, and analysing it. And again, thanks for sharing it. I hope you don't take any of this analysis as insult. It's just that kind of process that we do. But the reality is that I can't dismiss CGI on this one. It could be, we've talked about it in the past, what we call dumbed down CGI. So it's on sort of pretty normal looking footage, not made to look particularly movie kind of level effects. It's sort of just made to look a bit kind of there, blurred in the background, and so that's a possibility. I don't think it is. I don't understand why Danny would be doing that, but it's just one of those things that if we're going to truly do the analysis right, we can't dismiss without more evidence. So the audio on this one, it's quite natural. I've listened to it on headphones on full volume, sort of 3/4 of the way through the footage you can hear some voices or what sounds like people shouting. The footage, it seems like it's being filmed from a mobile phone. The sound is very natural and according to what you would expect. The only thing that I do pick up, and I don't know if you guys have picked this up as well when you were watching the original footage with the audio, but it sounds like there's a mouse clicking, like a computer mouse, and somebody's constantly clicking it. I don't know what that is or whether that is what it is, but it's kind of the only thing that I would say that's a bit strange. But other than that, the noise, it fits with the footage. It doesn't look like it's dubbed over or unnatural. What I would say is that it does lean some evidence towards the fact that I was mentioning laser show or like a concert or a festival. I think if that was the case here, judging from the sound that you're hearing on the footage, that would have maybe picked up something in the background, some bass or some sound coming from that event maybe, unless it really is, as I said earlier, right off in the distance. So all we're left with now really is the R for reaction, which is pretty easy one because there isn't really any reaction. You don't hear anybody or see anything reacting. The only reaction really in the footage is the clouds reacting to the light. So there's nothing really to kind of us to grab hold of and analyze under reaction. And then under time and date, as I said, I have messaged Danny to ask if they would be willing to share more details about when the footage was shot, what was the exact time. And the reason I was saying earlier why that's sort of kind of important, because one thing that an investigator could look into is whether there was any events in sort of like 10 miles radius of that area going on at that time. I mentioned concerts and festivals that give off lasers or light shows, or like a marketing event. It could have been they do things for these big store openings and have like spotlights swinging around. So it could have been something like that, or it could have been somebody potentially purposefully playing around and trying to create what Danny has filmed, and Danny's got the camera out because thought that looks interesting, shared us with it because it looks interesting, but ultimately it was somebody that was intentionally trying to hoax something. So that's why time and date would be really important, but I haven't got any information under time and date. And then similar, now this is what's really interesting about this footage, because I haven't seen anything similar like this for a while, or at least I haven't seen anything that, if I'm to focus in on one thing on this footage that I find particularly interesting, and it's the silhouette that appears towards the end and then the way in which the light moves towards the end. There's a part, I guess, the UFO, UAP, romantic part of my brain that, towards the end when you see the light go down, it kind of looks like a shuttle or something shooting off, and that's the romantic side of me. But ultimately the logical side of me, it could just be those lights or lasers coming down out of the sky and gives that impression of the light moving quickly and disappearing into the distance, when actually it's their foreground really. So yeah, that pretty much covers A-carts. I just thought that this one was really, really interesting. There could be a very simple explanation. There could be even something scientific in this, because you get things like a phenomenon like the Northern Lights, which only happen in one place in the world, and that's because of certain chemicals and conditions in the air there, and the place that it is on the planet that causes that phenomenon. But I guess there's other things, and in the past, certainly under the UFO phenomenon, there's been lots of mentions of things like swamp gas, and I guess there are scientific things that could happen in the atmosphere that could cause certain things to happen. The other real interesting thing about this footage, and I don't know if you guys noticed it earlier, and that was that in my zoomed in version, where I tweaked and trimmed and played around with it a little bit, there's a blue flash, and that blue flash doesn't appear in the original footage. I don't know if that's just a glitch or something like that, but it almost looks like it causes the footage to look like it's a thunderstorm or something going on, but actually that wasn't in the original footage, I don't believe. So that was also a little bit interesting, going back and watching that, doing the analysis. Anyway, what's really, really important, I've waffled on for a long time now, but I just thought this one was really interesting. And again, a big, big thank you to Danny Haralambora for sharing that on the Monty Zone Facebook page. That's what we want to see more of. We want to create this global community of people talking about thought-provoking subjects. So if it's anything to do with ghost or haunting phenomenon, or cryptozoology, or Bigfoot, or UFOs, or just anything mysterious, unexplained, thought-provoking, share that with us on the Facebook page, either if you filmed it yourself or experienced it yourself, or whether you see it online somewhere and want us to have a look at it and give you our thoughts. But right now, I need your thoughts on this one, guys. Is it going in the vault, or isn't it? Anybody got a really logical explanation for this one? Can't wait to hear what you guys think. I'll check you after my holiday in a couple of weeks' time. I'll see you soon. I'll miss you, and I'll be back soon. I promise.